It's Tuesday, January 27th, 2026. Welcome to the Daily Scoop podcast, where you'll hear the latest news and trends facing government leaders. I'm the host of the Daily Scoop podcast, Billy Mitchell. Thanks so much for joining me. Now let's dive into the day's top headlines. The Treasury Department said Monday that it would cancel all of its contracts with Booz Allen Hamilton, linking the decision to a former employee now serving prison time for leaking tax returns. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent said in a 3-paragraph press release that the agency's 31 contracts with Booz Allen, worth $21 million in total obligations and $4.8 million in annual spending, would be scrapped as part of President Donald Trump's push to root out waste, fraud, and abuse. Bessent said canceling these contracts is an essential step to increasing Americans' trust in government. Booz Allen failed to implement adequate safeguards to protect sensitive data, including the confidential taxpayer information it had access to through its contracts with the Internal Revenue Service. A Booz spokesperson said in an email to FedScoop that the firm was surprised by this announcement, especially given Treasury's reasoning regarding Charles Edward Littlejohn, who between 2018 and 2020 leaked the confidential tax returns and information of hundreds of thousands of taxpayers. That spokesperson went on to say that, quote, Booz Allen fully supported the U.S. government in its investigation, and the government expressed gratitude for our assistance, which led to Littlejohn's prosecution. We were surprised by this announcement and look forward to discussing this matter with Treasury, unquote. Per the Treasury release, the IRS determined that the data breach affected roughly 406,000 taxpayers. Littlejohn, who was sentenced to 5 years in prison last January after pleading guilty to one count of disclosing tax return information without authorization, leaked the returns of Trump, Elon Musk, and other wealthy individuals to a pair of news organizations. Now moving on to other news, NASA has a new top official for artificial intelligence and data. Kevin Murphy began serving in an acting capacity in both roles November 30th, 2025. NASA spokesperson Jennifer Duran confirmed to FedScoop in an email. He replaces David Salvignini, who was the agency's CDO for roughly 2.5 years and CAIO for just over a year and a half. Salvignini was the agency's first ever CAIO. According to Murphy's LinkedIn, he has been at NASA for over 17 years. He first served as a system architect at NASA's Goddard Space Flight Center and has held a series of data-related roles, including Chief Science Data Officer. As the agency's lead for data science, Murphy has already worked to advance technologies such as cloud computing, machine learning, and data platforms for use with NASA's scientific data, per an agency bio. He also oversees the agency's high-end computing capability, or HECC, portfolio, which deploys computing technologies to support large-scale modeling, simulation, and analysis at the agency. Murphy's designation as acting CAIO and CDO come after Salvignini announced his plans to leave the agency in a LinkedIn post roughly 2 months ago. In that post, Salvignini said he opted into the Trump administration's deferred resignation program and said he began his transition October 31st and would retire from federal service in the spring of 2026. For more news at the intersection of the federal government and technology, make sure to visit fedscoop.com. Thanks so much for tuning in to another episode of the Daily Scoop podcast, available on all podcast platforms. If you've already rated the podcast on your platform of choice, thanks so much. High ratings and good reviews of the show help more people to find it. The Daily Scoop podcast is a production of the Scoop News Group in Washington, D.C. Adam Butler and Carlin Fisher help put the show together, and the entire Scoop News Group team contributes. We'll be back tomorrow with more top headlines. Until then, I'm your host, as always, Billy Mitchell. Thanks so much for listening.